Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to present you an RTA by Cloud Mods, and this one is called the Cloud X. This RTA comes inside of this nice leather case. You'll get a certificate of authenticity, you'll get some spare O-rings, screws and airflow pins. With this RTA you also get a spare tank. And they also sent me on some optional airflow pin kits, an MTL kit and an RDL kit. And here you have it. So this is the Cloud X RTA by Cloud Mods, constructed out of 316L stainless steel. First, let me give you some dimensions. As you can see, this RTA is 22mm in diameter. The height, including provided drip tip, 43.88, without provided drip tip 38.25mm. On the top of this RTA you will have a black Delrin drip tip. This is the one that they'll give you as of stock. 5.5mm bore. Also a nice detail when you remove the drip tip is that it tapers down. So if there's any condensation build up here on the top, it will just flow back into the tank instead of you sucking it out of the drip tip. Very nice detail. On the top you will also have top fill. So you unscrew the top ring. This will separate from the tank, as you can see. And there you can see your two fill openings. Make sure to not cross thread this when you put it back on. This top part also has another function. This serves as your juice flow control. You can see on this little ring two flat edges. That's for you to grab this piece, and with doing that you can spin it counterclockwise, and I don't know if you can see it, but it will open up the juice flow control. So you can see this getting bigger here on the bottom, and this is all the way open. And when I spin it clockwise, you close off the juice flow control. On the bottom of the RTA, you've got X and your serial number. Over here, you got adjustable airflow on the ring. Now let me disassemble this. So unscrew the deck and top cap. Just unscrew it this way. And now, if you want to, you can just push the chamber or the bell out of it, like so. This is held in with an O-ring. Then this is the tank section that comes as of stock, a clear PMMA tank, and they also give you a frosted PMMA tank. So you will get these two tanks with the RTA. Now if I put the chamber back on, maybe easier to see how the juice flow control works now without a tank on it. So I just spin the drip tip part counterclockwise, and then you can see that it opens up the juice flow control. When I spin it clockwise, you can see that it closes off the juice flow control. And then this is what your build tech will look like. So you got your two posts facing each other. Over here is where you put your cotton in. This is where your e-liquid comes in, here on the side, and then it travels up to your cotton. In the center of the deck you can see an airflow pin. To remove this airflow pin you will need a flathead screwdriver, because this pin is screwed. Like so, and then your pin is out of it. The stock airflow pins that come with the RTA, you can see it here in the picture. You got a 1mm, you got a 2mm, a 2.8mm pin, and if you run it without an airflow pin in the middle, then the biggest opening in the center is 3.25mm. And then you can also buy optional airpin kits. So you get this MTL kit, will include a 0.8mm and a 1.5mm. That's the one that I have installed. With the RDL kit, you will get a 1.8mm pin and a 2.5mm pin. So pretty much everything is covered here, from very tight MTL to a restricted direct long. You can further disassemble this RTA as well. So if you take the ring off, make it easier to clean, then you can unscrew the pin on the bottom. So loosen that pin up. Take it out, it will come out with the insulator. There's a spare pin in the spares bag as well. Then you're gonna need something to lock between the posts. That makes it easier to disassemble. And then you unscrew it. It's a very tight fit. There's an O-ring all around as well. But this way you can disassemble the deck from the base. And here you go. These are the two parts separated. You can see peak insulator. You can see your post, positive post over here. Now, to get this back together, this might be a little bit tricky because, as you can see, this screw has to align with the center screw. Might be a little bit tricky to do this on camera, but okay, I'm gonna have to do it. So I'm gonna put this back together. Screw the deck back into the base. This is not something that you're gonna do very often. Maybe if you want to give everything a very good clean, but it's not really necessary to disassemble this. See, now this post is free as well. Now I'm gonna have to center this. Am I gonna achieve this while looking through my tiny camera screen? Maybe. This looks almost centered. Let me give this a go. Yes, we are in. Here we go. Now it's time to build this because I'm taking way too long on this video. Loosen up those post screws, Phillips head screws. They come up more than high enough. Coils, of course, Dutch handmade coils. And as I said, I'm gonna go for MTL. And I'm chosen one of his MTL fused Clapton coils. You can see the specs for the coil over here. I'm gonna take half a wrap off, so it's gonna be a little bit lower than 0.85 ohm. Yeah, putting a coil in, pretty straightforward. Put your coil underneath those post screws and then tighten them down. Then I'll take my scissors, snip off the remaining leads super short. Reposition the coil height. Yeah, that you have to experiment with that. I'm pretty much gonna leave the coil like this, so straight when I put it in. You can see that there's not much room between the posts, so 2.5 millimeter coils would be the max on this tank. Let me prepare this coil, remove hot spots and so on, and I'll see you back in a minute. So I got my coil prepared, I pulled some cotton through. The cotton I'm using is some Maviton X. Now to wig this, it's not super complicated to wig it. Pulled my cotton through, thinned it out, and then I cut my cotton pretty much flush with the deck. See, like so, I hold my scissors next to the deck. And that's where I cut it off. And then I cut a little bit of the top as well. Pretty short cotton wise. It all depends on the liquid that you're using, of course. If you're using a 50-50 liquid, you're gonna need a little bit more cotton. I'm using a 60 VG liquid. Don Cristo, this is a tobacco custard. Saturate that cotton that it's easier to put in place. And then I simply just push the cotton onto the deck. So I just make a little wall behind these two tabs. When I used this in restricted direct lung, I even used a little bit less cotton. There we go. That's it, pretty much wicked. And now I can put the tank back together. My juice flow control, I'm gonna close it off while filling the tank. This drip tip, I'm not gonna use it, so I'm gonna remove that as well. That's the tank filled up. Screw this ring back on. And I'm gonna use this tip by Borrow Designs, a TIPA tip. I'm gonna open up the juice flow control while holding the tank upside down, and I'm gonna screw this onto my old DPM Datu mod, I think it is. 4 or 5 years old, this mod. This build ohm now at 0.78 ohms, 14 watts. Yeah, let's start it off at that. I'm gonna let you hear the airflow close to the mic. I don't know if you could hear the airflow on the mic because it is very, very, very quiet airflow. So there we go. That's the complete setup. How I'm going to use it in MTL mode. Let me show you how this vapes and then I'll come back with my opinion on it. So you saw me vape on this 14 watts on this point, let's say 0.8 ohm coil. More than enough for me in MTL mode. My airflow setup almost halfway open on the ring, 1.5 millimeter pin underneath the coil and a 2.5 millimeter MTL fused Clapton coil. That's a very good and satisfying MTL draw to me. I can feel the resistance while taking a draw on this. So yeah, very satisfying MTL vape to me. Now what do I think about this tank? Well, first of all, the construction, it looks a little bit old school construction because it is pretty much an update from the old Cloud 1 RTA, which has released like, I don't know, 4, 5 or even 6 years ago. I think I had one of those before. I can't remember. I didn't make videos then, so very easy juice flow control. So just spinning the drip tip part here opens or closes up. The juice flow control works fine. Absolutely zero complaints on that. I tend to use it all the way open. That's because with the e-liquid that I use this MTL e-liquid is 60 VG. If I use restricted direct lung, it's gonna be 70 VG. So for me, I leave it all the way open. Easy top fill, but of course it's gonna, with a long drip tip like this, it's gonna be hard to put the bottle in. So yeah, on this setup, I'm gonna have to remove the drip tip. If you use the stock drip tip, you won't have that issue. The stock drip tip is more of a restricted direct lung bore in my opinion. Airflow adjustment on the AFC ring and also a bunch of airflow pins. As I said, as of stock 1, 2, 2.8 and without a pin 3.25 millimeters. And you can also buy the optional MTL or restricted direct lung kit, which contains 2 pins each. MTL kit 0.8 millimeter and the 1.5 that I've been using, and restricted direct lung you will get the 1.8 and 2.5 millimeter. I've used this in restricted direct lung mode as well with a 2.5 millimeter baby AIO alien coil from Coils by Dennis, 0.45 ohms. That vaped fine as well, but for me, since the tank is only a 3.3 ml of e-liquid capacity, I tend to use it more in MTL mode than I would do in restricted direct lung mode. Both of them, the flavor is fine, the airflow is super smooth, and in MTL mode, yeah, you can hardly hear the airflow. Yeah, super quiet. The way that you install a coil on this, not hard at all. 2.5 millimeter coil is gonna be the max on this. I would not suggest you to try a 3 millimeter coil on it. No, this tank is not really designed for that. In my opinion, it's not hard to wick, depending on what type of e-liquid that you're using. For the way that I wicked it for this 60 VG liquid, this is perfect. I keep my cotton nice and short, I trim it up, I thin it out. Yeah, it's been doing absolutely fine. Both MTL or restricted direct lung. And of course with the juice flow control you can dial it in even more. Very good experience that I get from this tank. Not much to complain about. And yeah, they give you an extra tank as well if you like the frosted look more than the clear look. Yes, the tank is threaded. It's metal going into plastic. Yes, some people will complain about that. I know. I've been using these types of tanks for so long, for so many years, and I've had it happen once with a Chinese product that I cross-thread something, but that was only once in, let's say, 50 tanks that I tried or have used with plastic on metal threading, so don't really make a big deal out of that, because it really isn't. And if you cross thread it, yeah, it's gonna be your own fault as well. Make sure that you spin it back a little bit and then put it on. So no big deal there. I hope maybe in the future or so that they could make like an extension tank even. Let's say, let's give it 4.5 to 5 ml of e-liquid capacity. That would be very awesome if they could do that. I don't know if it's possible. They're gonna have to make an entire bell section and a new tank. So yeah, I don't know if it's possible, but it would be nice if it could. I'm satisfied with this tank, and no, I'm not saying this because I got this tank for free to make a video for. No, it really is a good, satisfying vape that you're gonna get from this RTA. I think there was a first drop of this week. You have to be in the Cloud Mods Facebook group. I think this tank retails at 160 euro without the optional airflow pins. I think I pretty much told you everything that I know about this Cloud X RTA. That was it from me, guys, and I will see you later. Take care. Bye bye.